In glass towers and home offices across the world, something strange is happening. People are working harder than ever, yet producing less. Meetings multiply, inboxes overflow, and the word busy has become a badge of honor rather than a red flag. But behind those glowing screens lies a quiet truth few dare to confront. We've mistaken movement for progress. Today, in this second exploration of our corporate minimalism series, we uncover a radical idea that doing less, far less, might be the most productive act you'll ever commit to. Corporate minimalism isn't about escaping your job or rejecting ambition. It's about stripping away the mental and organizational noise that keeps talented minds trapped in endless motion. It's about rediscovering the stillness behind meaningful work, the kind of work that doesn't drain you, but defines you. In this video, we'll step into a quieter, sharper workplace. One where fewer tasks lead to greater impact, where simplicity fuels innovation, and where peace of mind becomes the ultimate measure of success. Let's begin. For decades, the corporate world has celebrated the illusion of constant motion, the ceaseless hum of keystrokes, the flood of emails, the calendar stacked with meetings that spill into the evening. We've been conditioned to equate busyness with value, as if exhaustion were evidence of excellence. Yet beneath the surface of that culture lies a quiet exhaustion, a generation of professionals running on caffeine and anxiety, mistaking activity for achievement. The truth, often whispered but rarely embraced, is that true productivity isn't born from doing more, it's born from doing less, with purpose. In the modern office, time has become the new currency, and yet it's spent carelessly. Hours vanish into reports that no one reads, projects that chase vague goals, and endless updates that serve more to prove effort than to produce meaning. It is here that corporate minimalism begins its rebellion, not against work itself, but against the waste that has infiltrated it. This philosophy asks a daring question. What if we reclaimed the clarity our ancestors once held, when work had rhythm, intention, and completion? The ancient artisans, the monks who copied manuscripts, the builders who raised cathedrals, they labored deeply, not endlessly. They knew the weight of focus, the dignity of deliberate pace. To do less and achieve more is not a slogan. It's a discipline, one that demands courage to defy the modern noise. It means trimming away the vanity metrics of productivity, the compulsive checking, the frantic multitasking that scatters the mind into fragments. It means understanding that a well-rested mind outperforms a restless one, that silence can be more strategic than speech, and that stillness often breeds the most original ideas. Corporate minimalism calls for the rediscovery of mental white space, those rare stretches of calm where creativity blooms. In that quiet, you begin to see the difference between motion and momentum, between effort and effect. Here, in this delicate balance, lies the art of real productivity, not in how much we do, but in how intentionally we do it. And so, from that moment of rediscovered focus, we step into something even rarer in the corporate world, mental white space. It is the oxygen of clarity, the pause between ideas where the mind finally exhales. Yet, in today's high-speed offices, this silence has all but vanished. Every spare second is filled with notifications, status checks, performance dashboards, and the faint hum of pressure that never truly fades. But what if that emptiness we rush to fill was the very place where breakthrough thinking begins? Corporate minimalism recognizes that productivity isn't born in the noise, it is born in the pause. The greatest minds in history understood this instinctively. Leonardo da Vinci spent hours simply staring at his canvas before touching it with color. Einstein took long, silent walks where his thoughts crystallized into theories that reshaped the world. And in quieter corners of history, craftsmen, writers, and philosophers all shared one trait. They worked deeply, but they rested deliberately. In that rest, ideas found room to grow. In the modern corporate environment, where time feels like a relentless current, mental white space becomes a form of quiet rebellion. It means protecting fragments of your day where you're unreachable, not out of arrogance, but preservation. It's closing your laptop 10 minutes earlier to breathe before your next task. It's walking without earbuds, letting thoughts wander freely instead of being force-fed input. These aren't luxuries. They're disciplines that anchor a scattered mind. When you strip away the clutter of constant stimulation, the mind doesn't become empty, it becomes alive. Thoughts mature, connections deepen, and decisions become grounded rather than reactive. The minimalist professional learns to measure success not by the volume of output, but by the clarity of outcome. That shift, from more to meaningful, is the essence of mental sustainability in the workplace. Because in truth, burnout doesn't begin with overwork. It begins with the death of quiet. And once you bring silence back into your day, deliberately, courageously, you begin to work not just harder or smarter, but more humanly. From that silence of the mind arises a powerful truth. The spaces we inhabit often shape the thoughts we produce. The office desk, the lighting, even the quiet hum of a computer, all form an invisible architecture that influences our focus. Yet most modern workplaces, from corporate towers to home offices, are built for visibility, not clarity. They celebrate openness but suffocate depth. Corporate minimalism asks us to redesign this space, not with decor or style, but with intention. In the traditional Japanese concept of ma, the value of a space lies not in what fills it, but in what is left empty. That emptiness gives room for energy to flow and thought to breathe. In the same way, a minimalist workspace isn't sterile or aesthetic, it is strategic. The desk becomes a stage where only what is essential earns its place. A single notebook replaces a stack of unread planners. One screen replaces three. The mind, mirroring its surroundings, finds focus where distraction once lived. But the architecture of focus extends beyond physical objects. It's in your digital environment, too. Every notification, every open tab, every silent buzz is a doorway through which your attention quietly escapes. Corporate minimalism doesn't demand abandoning technology. It teaches you to curate it. When you close 10 tabs, mute alerts, and allow one task to exist in full presence, something extraordinary happens. You begin to hear your own thoughts again. This isn't about creating beauty for its own sake. It's about constructing a mental cathedral where concentration becomes sacred. The most powerful workspaces aren't those filled with tools. They're those that make space for mastery. When form and function align through simplicity, even the smallest desk becomes a sanctuary of precision. And perhaps that's the quiet paradox of the modern professional. We chase better tools, faster systems, larger screens, when all we truly need is a space uncluttered enough for clarity to return. Because when your surroundings are calm, your mind finally stops shouting and starts listening. And when the space around you grows still, you begin to notice a subtler form of clutter, the one that seeps not through your desk or devices, but through your time. It arrives as endless pings, casual requests, unplanned meetings, and the quiet expectation that you must always be available. This is the hidden erosion of modern work. Not chaos you can see, but chaos that seeps beneath the surface. To live with focus in such an environment, one must master the art of invisible boundaries, gentle yet unshakable lines that preserve your attention without building walls around your humanity. Corporate minimalism treats boundaries not as barriers, but as filters. They decide what deserves your energy and what simply passes through. In a culture where saying yes has become an act of conformity, learning to say no, gracefully, calmly, and without guilt, becomes an act of leadership. It's the quiet strength of a professional who knows their value isn't measured by how much they can endure, but by how clearly they can discern what matters. Consider the rhythm of the great thinkers and innovators throughout history. They guarded their time with near spiritual devotion. Benjamin Franklin, for instance, divided his day not to squeeze in more tasks, but to protect the sanctity of focus. Even the Stoics of ancient Rome, bound by duty and empire, spoke of inner fortresses, not to isolate themselves, but to stay whole amidst distraction. Invisible boundaries are the modern reflection of that wisdom. They are soft to the eye, but firm to the world. A well-set boundary is not a retreat from responsibility. It is a declaration of intent. When you respond with presence instead of haste, when your yes carries meaning because your no had discipline, you restore dignity to your work. You begin to work with time, not against it. And this, perhaps, is the quiet revolution that corporate minimalism whispers into every overworked boardroom and blinking home office. That the calmest people are not those who have escaped pressure, but those who have architected peace within it. And from those invisible boundaries, those quiet acts of self-respect, emerges the final truth of corporate minimalism. Simplicity itself is a form of mastery. The modern workplace glorifies complexity. Layers of systems, jargon, and performance metrics create a comforting illusion of sophistication. But beneath that glittering complexity lies confusion, a fog that obscures real excellence. Simplicity, on the other hand, is clarity refined through experience. It is what remains when noise has been questioned, filtered, and finally removed. In every craft, the masters are not the ones who add more. They are the ones who take away with precision. The calligrapher who perfects a single stroke after years of repetition, the architect who balances form and function with effortless grace, the musician who leaves a pause exactly where emotion demands it, they all understand that restraint reveals depth. Corporate minimalism asks the same of every professional: to replace complexity with coherence, to see that productivity is not about volume but about elegance. A minimalist professional does not rush, they arrive. Their work carries an ease that others mistake for luck, but it is not luck, it is design. Through simplicity, they channel their effort toward what truly matters. Their reports are shorter, yet sharper. Their meetings fewer, yet decisive. Their communication direct, yet deeply human. This is the hidden artistry of minimalism at work, the moment when clarity turns labor into legacy. When simplicity becomes your standard, anxiety begins to loosen its grip. You no longer chase every task, you choose them. You no longer drown in decisions, you direct them. In this space, work stops feeling like an endless climb and begins to feel like a rhythm, purposeful, sustainable, alive. And perhaps that is where mastery truly resides, not in knowing everything, but in knowing what to let go of. When you strip away the excess, what remains isn't emptiness, it's excellence, revealed at last in its purest form. And so, as we draw this reflection to a close, remember that corporate minimalism isn't merely a strategy for surviving modern work. It is a quiet revolution of how we live within it. It's the art of carving space for clarity amid chaos, of reclaiming time in a world that worships urgency. When we simplify, we don't withdraw from ambition, we refine it. We give our energy a direction, our purpose a form, and our work a soul. Let this be your invitation to continue the journey, beyond the noise, into the spaces where real focus, balance, and calm still exist. If this spoke to you, explore the other paths of simplicity waiting on the channel, the raw clarity of extreme minimalism, the serene design of microtopia minimalism, and many more explorations into how less can become profoundly more. And stay tuned for the next chapter in this unfolding series, a deeper exploration that will challenge how you see simplicity, purpose, and power in the modern age. The journey doesn't end here. It only grows quieter, wiser, and infinitely more intentional.